If you're currently learning how to code or you're a programmer and wondering, what could I do to get better? Well, you are in the right place. Hello there, good people. Welcome. My name is Marco and I'm a full stack developer working from home. And in this video, I wanted to give you some tips and tricks and a few habits that you can integrate in your routine to get better as a programmer. To be honest, some of these habits are quite important because you see, the world of tech, the world of programming is extremely dynamic and continuously changing, which is amazing because it is always evolving. But that means that you should be too. So you should always look for ways to get better and improve. Now, the first thing is physical activity. Now, this might seem a little bit counterintuitive. Marco, how is it going to help if I run 5 kilometers? Well, it helps more than you know for two main reasons. First of all, developers have a tough job. I mean, you're basically sitting down for the entire day in front of a desk, in front of a monitor, and your body is not really meant for that. So if you keep doing it, you'll get to pay the price later on. I mean, health issues, mainly problems with your back, with your lower back especially, with your neck and the shoulder area. Now you're old, young and free and it's not much of a bother, but later on these health issues might become a real problem. So getting into the habit of exercising every day will really help you cope with these health issues, especially later on in your career. And second, because it helps your brain. There is no known way to increase IQ. Scientists have done their research, it's just not there. They came out with the conclusion it's not possible. However, there is one way, all scientists agree, to preserve it, to preserve IQ, and that is, you guessed it, physical activity. And to quote Dr. Scott McGinnis, engaging in a program of regular exercise of moderate intensity over 6 months or a year is associated with an increase in the volume of selected brain regions. So, hit the treadmill. Second on the list is sleep. Now I know what you're thinking. Come on, Marco, where is the algorithms and data structure? Where is the math and calculus and deep learning? Sure, it is important to know your craft, but consider this. Programming is an intense brain activity. You need to use your brain a lot. Problem solving, implementation, abstractions, new structures, context switching. If you don't know, context switch happens when you're using a language and then you're using another one. It's that step right there. That is fairly intense and you need to make sure that your brain is working at its full capacity. Basically, it's well rested. It is commonly known that you should sleep at least 8 hours every night. So my advice to you is really start doing that if you aren't, and you'll see the benefits in no time. And this goes in the same way for all those activities and habits that can really improve your health, even eating healthy food, because it is quite common when you're just sitting down to just nibble on every single thing you got at home, or even worse, at work where you got that diabolical vending machines. Just be mindful, marathon athletes, they train their legs and lungs to run the marathon. But you as a programmer, you use your brain and you want to take good care of it. Third tip I want to share with you is to stop procrastinating. Now I know this one is as old as time. When programming, I have seen many different behaviors and approaches to coding something. But the tendency I have witnessed more often is just to get lost into the details, pointless details, following every single rabbit, every single branch, and just, jump on the next one and the next one and so on. And this really delays the project and makes you lose sight of the end goal. The objective is to deliver the product, even if you're working alone on your own project. You want to finish what you're doing. So stop wasting time on small stuff and implementations. Sure, there is always a better way to do something, but at the beginning, your main objective is to finish the product. So you sit down, you decide how you want to go about doing these certain things, and then you just go straight and do it. And I'm not saying you should feel pressure into things, not at all, but sometimes you get the tendency that you have a lot of time on your hands, and so it is reasonable to just, rethink certain aspects of the product. That is just taking away time from the delivery date. And keep this in mind, it is better to have a malfunctioning but complete product than not having a product at all. Quick pause to say that if you're liking this video so far, well then leave a like and share. And don't forget to check other videos on this channel where I talk about tech related topics, just like this one. Another big one I want to tell you is think in the long term. When writing code, the most common thing I hear is, I don't need to write it down, I'll remember it. This statement is as short-sighted as it is stupid. You won't remember anything after even 1 week of you writing that piece of code. What you should try to do to improve as a programmer is think in terms of future use, which means readability, of course. If I read this code in 1 month or 6 months, would I be able to understand it? But also for other people. If other developers were to read this code, would they be able to understand it? But most importantly, to add to it. This is another pivotal point in the career of a developer. Projects don't just stop when you make them. They need improvements, they need refinements, so-called new features to make them more usable and powerful, hopefully. So one question you must ask yourself when coding is, how easy would it be to come back here and add something to this? Would it be easy to expand, adding new features? And if the answers are not easy at all, well, you might want to rethink the way you're writing your code. So think in the long terms, but to jump to my next point is think on a bigger scale. This tip is a real game changer if you want to step up from beginner's mentality to a production level mentality. Beginners tend to just think about the moment. The script works there and then, well, my job here is done, it's fine. But if you really wanted to improve, you need to get out of this mentality and start thinking about scalability, and you'll see that it is certainly fun, but now complexity will arise drastically. The script or piece of code not only has to work, but it has to perform under heavy load. So while you're writing code, ask yourself, will this work as efficiently as it does now if 1,000 users were to use it all at once? This will put you in the mindset of efficiency and performance. There are many ways to go about that, depends on the problem you got at hand, and you are in charge of finding that solution. For instance, if you're working on a feature that relies massively on the database, you might want to rethink maybe the raw SQL query that you send to the database. Maybe in terms of caching, why should I make twice a query that doesn't really change? And this totally depends on you. Of course, it's a lot of responsibility, but hey, diamonds are born from pressure. One last thing I want to encourage you to integrate in your routine to get better as a programmer is simplicity is king. There might be some super smart ass out there just trying to show off, like waiting for that opportunity to over-engineer every single little thing. Don't be that guy. Your code needs to be readable, understandable, but also manageable by other people. By this logic, strive for simplicity in your code. Overcomplicated things and logic and processes might actually negatively affect the product itself. Less is more is a great principle to live by when you're coding, at least in my opinion. I'm a big fan of those one-line statements that are just beautifully written. Of course, don't sacrifice simplicity for brevity. They usually go side by side, luckily, but it's not always true. So keep in mind these tips that I've just told you, and you'll see the benefits of becoming a better developer in no time. And if you really wanted to know what makes the difference on the workplace, well then check this video and also subscribe. I'll see you at the next one. Ciao.